The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with Future Tech Podcast. I have three guests today, John Sacco, Eric Faffenbach, and Chris Bianco. They're a group of collectors. They deal in physical Bitcoins and related products, and they can be found on the Bitcoin Talk Collectibles subforum. It's a pretty large marketplace where they talk about trading of collectibles related to crypto. So later on, I'll give you their screen names if you want to contact them and talk about trading, maybe engage in some trades. But for now, welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Richard. Good to be here.
Doing good. Yeah. So tell me, what got you guys, what's your individual stories? What got you into physical Bitcoins and memorabilia and all that stuff?
Sure. I'll go first. So my name's John. I'm Hybrid Soul, as known on the Bitcoin Talk forums. And I've been into Bitcoin since early 2013 as just an investor and a developer in the space. And in 2014, I went to a Bitcoin meetup locally in my town. I was really excited and ended up meeting a couple guys that were really into gold and silver, and they were really new to the Bitcoin space, and I was really new to the gold and silver space. And so I had gotten interested in investing in silver, and so I really kind of decided that at that point that it would be great to merge the hobbies. And I went on the Bitcoin Talk forum and realized that there is this huge industry of collectible coins in the Bitcoin space. Some of them are funded coins with private keys, like most people know the Cassatius coins that were released in 2011 and up until 2013. But there's all kinds of coins that are Bitcoin themed, and not only coins, but collectibles like artworks, like paper wallets. And I've just been really fascinated as a collector ever since. So I'm really looking forward to the conference because it'll be, I think, the first time that a lot of us will be able to show some of these products to the Bitcoiners, the other blockchain enthusiasts who may not really know that this market exists in the virtual. We're so used to trading the virtual coins that we don't really see there's this really, and I think from a historical standpoint, this is going to be an important era in Bitcoin is to represent the history with all of these physical products that can be shown and held. And I'm really excited to bring that to the conference. I'll pass it off to my associate, Eric, to give his intro as well.
Basically, I got started in Bitcoin around the time when Mt. Gox, the whole collapse thing happened. It was just kind of interested me. And from there, I kind of got into the whole Bitcoin mining and the whole technical side. And then after that, I just was kind of looking for something more fun to do. And growing up collecting coins, I kind of found the physical collectible Bitcoins. And I went on eBay and kind of started there buying the cheap dollar ones and like $2 ones. And then I found the forum with the collectible section. And like John said, it's like a whole nother world. Like there's so many different coins and collectibles that people couldn't collect. And so over the past couple of years, that's just what I've been doing. We do a lot of like group buys, and we help each other out to get these coins because some of them are kind of hard to get. Some of them, they won't ship to the United States or this or that. So it's kind of
really what? Why is that, by the way?
Due to money laws, where they're not allowed to import loaded coins because it's considered money transmission. And that's why a lot of people in the United States too, like Cassatius, they stopped selling loaded coins because of that. There's a lot of, you're able to do it if you do the right paperwork and money or paperwork and all that, but it's just a lot of headaches for a lot of people, and especially for a small company like somebody like Cassatius, to have to go through and do all of that would have just been a nightmare. So, but being that, it's a good group of collectors, and like I said, we help each other out, with all these different coins and collectibles, and we have an active chat where we talk and we give each other the heads up. Hey, did you see the new coin coming out? And it's fun. It's definitely a whole other side of, I guess, coin collecting that I never thought would exist. And when you start to talk about it with somebody who's like an old coin collector, their eyes kind of light up. It's a whole other side that people have never heard of, and the coins themselves too are interesting to say the least. It's not just a face and in God we trust on the back. They have fancy designs and holograms and all that good stuff. So it's some good stuff out there to be involved in.
Before we go on, do any of the coins have the public key physically etched onto them, or private key?
Yes, yeah, they do actually. The private key. There actually was a series of coins made by one of the people that we know that they had the keys etched into the coin. They were called Genesis coins.
Okay, cool. All right. And then go ahead, Chris.
What got me into collecting?
Yeah.
I kind of late into the Bitcoin game. I think it was spring of 2014 when I first heard about it. And it wasn't until a couple months later that I started giving it some serious thought. And I found Bitcoin Talk forums, luckily the collectible sub-forum. And I bought my first coin, collectible coin. It was a Silver Wallets coin, and oh my gosh, I'll still always have a special place in my heart for that one. Then I started buying other ones, Leilana coins, and it just grew from there.
Now, Chris, not to go too far, but you started one of my favorite companies in the physical Bitcoin space. Can you talk about kind of how you came up with the inspiration for the Bitcoin penny?
Well, thank you very much for the kind word. Yeah, I was a librarian. I was sitting at work at my desk one day, and I looked down at my penny loafers, and I thought, I like the tradition of wearing pennies and penny loafers because it's silly. It's just a fun, silly thing to do. And but I thought, Bitcoin is the future. I mean, it's digital currency. Somebody should come out with a Bitcoin that I could put in my penny loafers. And I thought that was such a funny idea. I texted my wife. I still have a screenshot of the text, actually, from 2014. I texted her, and I said, somebody should make a small, inexpensive Bitcoin that you can put in your penny loafers and sell them. I mean, in this little one sentence, I had basically our entire company theme, inexpensive, small, sell them in twos so they can wear them in both shoes. And she replied that she thought it was a fantastic idea. And then we said, what the heck? Let's try it. So I started making calls, getting coins made.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site now, and I see the rolls of pennies, the short roll, the regular roll. How much do they cost, by the way, a short roll and a regular roll?
Well, the first year we tried to do it by dollar the first year. And we slowly went over to charging by Bitcoin. But the short roll of 20 coins is, I think, about $50. And the classic roll, which is 40 coins, is about $100. And then we have a special edition roll, which is there. We only make 10 of those a year. Those are pretty cool. But Eric mentioned that he likes coin collecting, and one of the things that we had done was we came up with more than one type of penny, and we hide a few limited edition kind of rare pennies in each roll. So we give people a chance to break open a roll, hunt through the roll for the rare pennies, that kind of thing. Silly little fun tradition we like.
Yeah, that's really cool. Have you thought about doing a commemorative like Satoshi coin with a shadowy profile of who he might be on the coin? In Satoshi we trust.
Well, we haven't, but we do have. Every year we mint our main mintage, a few thousand coins that have a particular mint mark, whatever the initials or whatever happen to be that year. And then we do mint a few ones that have, basically they look exactly the same, except on the front, the mint mark is SN for Satoshi Nakamoto. And on the back, instead of minted in USA, it's the signature of S. Nakamoto. So we hide those. Those are the rarer coins that we hide throughout the rolls. So that's as close as we've gotten to making a special Satoshi Nakamoto coin. But, we do that every year now. We like that little tradition.
Oh, very cool. So what are some of the other collectibles that are your other guys' favorites? What's some interesting stuff that most Bitcoiners would never know about?
Paper Safe, Kialara.
Oh yeah, the Kialara. I think some casual Bitcoiners would be aware of the Kialara. I think it might be the second most popular behind the Cassatius, but it's interesting in that it's not a coin. It's kind of a rectangular shape, really a piece of art that's made of metal and very beautiful, made up of a lot of different pieces. And people if I showed you a picture, you've probably seen it, but those are going for an incredible amount of money, especially some of the more limited release Kialaras. And what's interesting about those is they were never really meant to be funded. So they have a private key that's engraved, and you actually have to destroy the entire piece of art to get to the private key. And so for that reason, they're not really meant to be funded. And I think there's probably three classifications of these coins if you wanted to think about them as being those that are funded and meant to be funded. Usually they're sold funded, meaning they actually have Bitcoins that you can redeem and, destroy a hologram to redeem them so you can, prove that it hasn't been tampered with if you wanted to transfer that or sell the token to somebody else. Then you have the DIY coins where they come with a hologram that's not yet applied to the coin. And so those are like your silver wallets, and a lot of other coins are doing this because they don't want to have the liability of selling funded coins. And there's more trust associated with, creating your own keys, which I think is a good practice for anyone who wants to do their own cold storage. And then you have like the token, the third type, which are really, they're not meant to be funded or do it yourself funded. It's like the Bitcoin pennies, where they are almost homages to Bitcoin and meant to look like other coins. And there's a lot of these types of varieties out. Interestingly, there's now an encyclopedia of physical Bitcoins where you can now view and read the book, and there's a PDF online at coinfirm.org where you can see the literally hundreds of brands and different types of coins out there.
Oh, very cool. So you say Cassatius is not making them anymore, so any coins you buy that are Cassatius are just old ones, or are they making new ones that are not funded?
He stopped in 2013 because of the money transmitting laws. He basically said it's just easier for me to stop than have to comply with 50 different states and international countries, trying to figure out their money laws. So he just stopped selling funded coins. And then Lilana, they were doing the same thing, but they stopped as well. But basically now they're still able to quote unquote sell a funded coin, but it's basically the person who buys it. They basically send the funds to the coin as it's assembled, and it basically comes as a funded coin. But because the person themselves are funding it, it's not considered that the person selling it is transmitting the monies, basically, if that makes sense.
That's an interesting way around it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a couple of other countries too where they'll sell you the coin, and then they'll wait for you to receive it, and then they'll load it upon delivery. So I don't know if that's something kind of a little different, but I guess it kind of works in the same way.
Those Cassatius gave up, so any Cassatius coins you buy would stop at 2013?
Correct. The loaded ones, yes, that was last year. But he did make a coin for 2014. It was a commemorative coin for a college football game. It was called the St. Petersburg Bowl football game down in St. Petersburg, Florida. And there was, originally like 2,000 coins minted, and 1,200 of them were scrapped and sent back to the mint. So there were only 800 of them left, but they're out there, and they're nice silver coins. They have a little gilt on them, and they are available. But they're starting to command a premium. They're becoming quite rare. So just like the rest of them, they're becoming quite collectible.
Have you seen any interest in physical coins for other tokens, or really only Bitcoin?
I personally, I've seen a bunch of them. There's tons of different currencies that people will make tokens for. Recently on the Bitcoin Talk forum, somebody posted a post about a Ripple coin that they wanted to make. There's another maker who is named Finite by Design. They just came out with a whole slew of Ethereum tokens of different shapes, sizes, some silver, some just regular metals like brass and copper. So yeah, there's all sorts of different crypto tokens or physical crypto tokens out there, I should say.
But it seems really like the one that people are interested in and love is Bitcoin. That's got most of the love, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'd say to a lesser extent, I think Monero coins are becoming more popular, especially with Lilana released several different versions of the Monero, physical Moneros, being a more privacy-focused coin. But they're all over the map, and you even have just individuals who are big fans of specific cryptocurrencies that release their own coins. And a couple examples of that would be in 2014, one of the very first physical cryptocurrencies was a guy named SoCal who created the physical Vera coins, the VRC tokens. You also have, I think, Stratus, somebody who's an enthusiast in the Stratus community created their own coin for Stratus. And just, now it's becoming even all over the map with all the new cryptos out. There's inevitably, for the larger one, somebody wants to create a physical token to honor the crypto of their choice, whether it's funded, unfunded, or do it yourself.
Interesting. So what are some of the new projects or upcoming, physical Bitcoin type stuff that you guys are really interested in? You mentioned there's some paper wallets, maybe some real decorative ones instead of just a piece of paper. I mean, what else exists out there?
Yeah, I know the company has something interesting. Chris?
I was going to say that one of the things that I think is really phenomenal in the physical Bitcoin space is BTC China and what they have done. As you guys may know, BTC China or BTCC, they have their own mining pool. And so what they did last year in 2016 was they released physical Bitcoins that were made out of titanium, and they are loaded with freshly minted Bitcoins directly from a block. So these are coins that have never existed on the blockchain until they were mined and sent directly to these titanium coins. And so they had a release of last year. They actually came out with the half Bitcoin, the 1 Bitcoin, and then whole blocks. So they actually mined entire blocks onto a chunk, a square of titanium. And I think that was really one of the most innovative things that I've come across. With regard to paper wallets, you've got PaperSafe, which is a great company here in the U.S. In fact, we're going to have some PaperSafe paper wallets on hand in February at the conference, among many other types of brands. And then another paper wallet that I really like is made by the Bitcoin Swiss company. They're a registered financial company in Switzerland who released their own note, which is basically it looks almost like an official government currency, but these are funded notes that were coming from the Bitcoin Swiss company.
Huh. Very interesting. I guess, yeah, it's funny. There's hardware wallets, but they don't seem to have the romance and the art and the intrigue that decorative paper wallets have or coins have. It's kind of funny. They seem like they'd play in this arena, but I guess not.
Yeah, Trezor released a limited edition Trezor device, which I think was made out of steel and was highly collectible, and there's only a handful of them out there. I actually got started collecting physical or hardware wallets because those were more practical, and so it kind of all bleeds in where you've got the hardware wallets, the paper wallets, the physical coins. It's really, now you've got even art that are, on a canvas that is, in some cases, it's a wallet as well. And so we're seeing all of these different hybrid ways in which you can present Bitcoins. And, I think that there's slowly but surely there's an audience in a collectible market for each one of these.
What makes something collectible, at least in the Bitcoin world? I'm sure you've seen some stuff that maybe you thought would have value, but people don't really like it or care about it, and some that people love for some reason. Any insight into why and what's rare and what's not and why?
Good question.
Because you said, this one's collectible. That one's collectible. Why? Why is it collectible?
Yeah, it comes down to how many were made. I think there's a lot of them that the collectible market right now is not so big where if you were to create, say, 1,000 of these physical, tokens, there might not be a buyer for every one of those, and so those may not increase in value. Other makers, they're pretty smart. They know the market well enough, and they'll do a release of, say, 50 items. A guy out of Spain, his company is called Crypto Imperator. Yeah, I think that's how you call it. But he tends to have releases that are in the maybe 25 to 50, and those typically sell out pretty quickly. But then you have the more universally appealable ones like the Casacious and Kiolaras. And, even if Kiolara made, say, 500, those will probably all sell out, and they'll increase in value over time just because of how talented he is as an artist, and how, kind of stunning his pieces are. I think that you'll, like with most collectible markets, there's a variety of quality and just artistic talent that goes into creating each one of these. And as you guys will see at the conference, we'll have the encyclopedias on hand. We'll also have all of these different examples that we're talking about, where people can actually hold and see and browse through the encyclopedia and look at all of the different offerings. And I think everybody that looks through it is probably going to see one that they love the most. And I know we all each have our own favorites, and you'd be surprised, they're not always the same. I think some people value more physical and gold or silver and gold. Others people look at it more for the aesthetics or the mintage, how many of them are out there. But you never really know what's going to be the most popular one. There's certainly a lot out there right now, and some of them are fetching pretty high markups from their original prices.
Yeah, what have you seen as like the most valuable or some of the most valuable ones, and what are they, and how much do they go for?
Definitely the Casacious coins, I would say, just for their history alone makes them some of the most valuable. Not necessarily the most rare, but definitely they do command a premium when people sell them.
Yeah, the 2011 Casacious was the very first physical Bitcoin ever created, and even though there are a couple thousand of them that he created, they are, I would say, one of the most popular coins, and probably will remain that way. Just that there's a large enough number of them out there. They're not terribly difficult to purchase, but if you wanted to buy a loaded 1 Bitcoin 2011 era Casacious, you're looking at probably $10,000 in today's market.
Wow, that's quite a premium. Jeez.
That would be retail, yeah. If you waited around on the forum, you could probably get one and if you're willing to pay in Bitcoin, you could probably get one for closer to 2 Bitcoins, which I guess is now, $7,000-$8,000.
Yeah. Huh. And has the price of those tracked as Bitcoin's price has changed?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. As Bitcoin has gone up in value, the premium in Bitcoin has gone down on virtually all of these coins. The Casacious coins used to go for multiples of their loaded value, so it wouldn't be uncommon for a Casacious that was loaded with 1 Bitcoin to sell for 3 Bitcoins, a year ago when Bitcoin was under $1,000. And now it's rare that a Casacious would go for more than, say, 2 Bitcoins. And so the premium value in terms of Bitcoin has gone down, but the premium in terms of dollars typically stays the same or goes up. And so it might not be as good of an investment as simply just buying and holding or hodling Bitcoin. But that said, in a bear market, I think, or as a hedge or just a diversified investment, I think that these collectibles will continue to grow in value regardless of what happens with the price of Bitcoin.
Huh.
At least that's my interest.
Any coins made with the Genesis block, any of the public keys from, that Satoshi supposedly holds, or any of the first ones?
Not that I'm aware of. That would be really cool, though, if somebody did have some Satoshi coins in a physical Bitcoin, I'm sure that would get a lot of attention.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe Craig Wright has one.
Well, I mean, you could make it just with the the public key and give you no power to spend it. But or if you did one, I don't know if people know the ID of the Bitcoin pizza transaction. That might be another interesting one to make.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there is a physical Bitcoin that he created multiple coins, and each one I think represents an event in Bitcoin's history. Like, for example, there is a pizza coin. Eric, do you know the name of that coin? I'm trying to think of it.
They're not MJB, but they're tiny 1 gram silver coins, and there's 2 or 3 different ones. And like you said, one commemorates the pizza transaction. One I think is like the Genesis block transaction, something like that. They're out there.
Yeah. And we've got coins that commemorate the halving from 2015 or 2016, the second halving. There's coins that commemorate basically every event that's happened in Bitcoin's life has been commemorated in one way or another in a physical coin. Whether it was the Mt. Gox collapse,
the 2140 future coin, when the
that's
the block reward goes away.
Yep, one idea that I've had is the SegWit coin. So create an actual coin that uses a new SegWit type of transaction. I think that one, it's an idea that would be a good one as well to have.
Well, a contentious one, yeah, a very contentious one.
That's right, Bitcoin Cash. Although we do have that as well now. There's a Bitcoin Cash physical silver coin.
Oh, really? Huh. Are there LiteCoin physical coins, or what other ones are out there? You mentioned possibly Ripple. What other ones have you seen?
Oh yeah, LiteCoin.
They made a big one of coins.
Yeah, LiteCoin's very popular. Ethereum as well. Monero. Really the coins that have the largest community behind them, tend to have a lot more collectibles associated with them, and these are not just coins in every instance, but paper wallets, whether they're credit card style. I think Ethereum just came out with, or a Ethereum fan came out with a line of Ethereum wallets that are tied up with the My Ether wallet domain name. And so those are pretty cool. They just came out. We're going to have some of those on hand at the conference as well.
Okay, very cool.
These just look like credit cards that would have a scratch off lottery ticket style private key that's hidden underneath, and so that you could use it to load it up with Ethereum, and then whenever, and give it away for Christmas presents or for birthdays, and then whenever the user or the owner wants to spend it, they can just scratch the code underneath. And the great thing about these types of physical wallets is that you can give them away. They look great. It's a good way to get somebody into the hobby, and they're not destroying something if they ever did want to spend it. And that is sort of an issue with some of these more collectible physical coins, is that you never really would want to spend it, even though you could, and that the coins exist on the blockchain. It's easier, and you would make more money by selling it as an intact coin rather than redeeming it. And that also helps the value, because over time, a lot of these coins tend to get redeemed, especially the earlier Cassatius coins. And there's a website that tracks how many of the Cassatius coins are in existence and how many of them have been peeled, meaning they've been redeemed on the blockchain. And it's pretty easy to tell once that's happened.
Oh, and I guess an unpeeled one is worth a lot more than a peeled one.
Absolutely, yeah. Not just in the Bitcoin value, but in the collectible value. The premium of an unpeeled coin is significantly higher than one that's been peeled.
I guess it's like Beanie Babies or Cabbage Patch Kids. If you leave it in the packaging, it's worth more, or a Superman comic book if it's in the packaging, or that kind of stuff.
That's right. And another trend we're seeing now is that a lot of people are getting their coins graded. There's a coin grading service here in the U.S. that really has carved out a nice side business by grading Cassatius coins and really a whole variety of coins. And Eric could tell you a lot about kind of the values that those are fetching, because you're essentially sealing that coin into a slab where it can't really be tampered with, and it's got an actual expert, quote unquote, who has signed off that this is a coin and it has this particular grade and quality.
Yeah, Eric, tell me a little bit about that. What have you seen, and what are some of the premiums going there, and what's the company?
It definitely helps with the premiums on coins. I mean, it basically, like he said, it gives some kind of authenticity, or I guess a guarantee that it's an authentic coin, and that it is what it is, and it is of certain quality. Some of the premiums actually just on the coins that there's an auction actually there's ongoing on the forum right now. One of the premiums on a coin is right now it's 4 times over its face value, just because I'm guessing that the coin is graded, and it also has a very high grade, so that in itself lends to the value of the coin. If the coin gets a perfect grade on a coin is called an MS70, and that means a flawless coin. And that in itself, the premium on the coin, sometimes can start off at least double, just because of that alone. So these premiums definitely lend themselves to ensuring that you're, a good premium on the coin, and that you're also getting a quality product, and that it's authentic.
That's really cool. That's fascinating how it's evolving. Any other innovations you see coming that are really interesting to you guys, or curiosities or strange behaviors in this sector of the industry?
Yeah, I think it's. I was gonna say, I think it's worth mentioning that a lot of Bitcoiners are skeptical of this hobby because of the fact that you're trusting Bitcoins to private keys that you didn't necessarily generate yourself, and I fully get that. One of the interesting things though that we've seen is that of all the dozens of companies that have created funded physical Bitcoins, we've really only had 2 examples where the creator of the coin has ran off and actually stolen the funds, and those were in Coinographic, who actually created purely LiteCoin line of coins that he created coins that had 25 LiteCoins and then I think 1 LiteCoin each. He just drained every coin overnight. Yeah, we're gone at some point in 2016. And then earlier this year, we had the Latin coin series, which these were funded with 2 Bitcoins on each coin. These were 2-ounce silver coins. They were sold mostly in 2014. So on some random day, 3 years after he sold these coins this year, he drained roughly half of all of the funds associated with that entire release. And this was, I think, about, I want to say 100 Bitcoins were gone. Wow. Now that said, this risk is obviously apparent when you're buying these physical coins, but the vast majority of them have, the makers stand behind the product. They are well-known people. In many cases, we know who they are and where they live. In some cases, these are large companies like BTC China who are producing these coins, and the trust is very high. It's not as good as when you or I generate our own keys, but it's almost as good, especially for somebody that may not necessarily trust their own process for creating a key. I think a BTC China coin that's funded with the supervision of Bobby Lee, who is really well known in the space, and same way goes for Capacious. I think those are as good as it gets, and surprisingly, we haven't really seen a whole lot of fraud in the entire industry. Now that said, I would recommend that people only put a smaller percentage of their holdings into any private keys that they didn't generate themselves. The majority should be your own keys, your own coins, just like you wouldn't leave them on an exchange.
I guess there's not going to be a China crackdown coin, right? Or I thought of something else funny. What about a paper brain wallet? That probably wouldn't be a product that would sell very well, Anyway, all right, enough of the bad jokes. All right, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference in February. Let's tell listeners, how do they get in touch with you and maybe do some trades, find out some of the items that you're going to be bringing, start interacting. What you said on the Bitcoin Talk forums, how do they find you? What are your screen names?
I'm Eric, and my screen name is Miner Jones.
Okay. Yep, I'm John, and my username is Hybrid Soul, HYBRIDSOLE. on the Bitcoin Talk forums and also on Reddit and on Twitter. You can find me under the same handle. And yeah, if anyone has any particular requests or if they just want to see it or maybe even buy a particular brand, we can't bring everything, but we'll certainly try to accommodate any specific requests for some coins because these aren't necessarily easy for everybody to access if they're not necessarily well versed with the forum community and how the escrow system works, etc.
Chris? I'm Chris, and my screen name is Bitcoin Penny, and you can find me there.
All right, great, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming. It's been a really interesting conversation. Usually, we're talking about the non-physical side of things, so I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks, Richard, and we're really looking forward to February.
The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.